Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3stacks in this thing. I'm quite enthused just to go over this list again. I'm happy that my Burning Abyss ritual deck was so popular. So we basically made some tweaks to the main deck and we upgraded it, and we also got the additional prep. This is the Ritual Burning Abyss variant. It's still PK Fire. You know, the Phantom Knights are too good to not play, but I just love rituals so much. They have such a huge space in my heart in Yu-Gi-Oh that any ritual deck I have the chance to make, I try to make it as best I can. Like, they're just my favorite decks. Like, rituals, it's something about it, man. Like, it may sound weird, but I've always said that I like cards that you have to work hard to get. It seems weird because most people be like, I want to play something easy. I want a one card invoked fusion and just fuse for free off of an Alistair. But there's something about rituals, and the main thing, honestly, was because so many people tended to just run away from the mechanic and never really looked more into it and decided to play ritual decks because they're like, oh, you have the ritual spell, you have the ritual monster, you don't have the tribute fodder. It's like, it takes a very, very high skill level to build a consistent ritual deck, and I like that mental challenge. I'm up for it. So I've dedicated a lot of my Yu-Gi-Oh career to actually becoming the ritual master. And for the most part, nearly everybody that knows me basically acknowledges and accepts the fact that I've become the ritual king in my area. There's nobody that loves rituals more than me. Nobody that plays them better or even makes as many ritual decks as I do. But without further ado, we're going to hop right into this list. So for this list, we're playing 2 copies of Malakota. I still have not found 3 coming up enough. This card, like, you play him at 2 because you have so many different searches, so many different combo pieces that actually search him out from your deck, which is pretty nice. So it's like, playing the 2 is nice because, like, you don't have the problem of drawing into multiples, and then also, even if you don't draw him in your opening hand, you can search him off of your preps. And he also happens to be a Burning Abyss card, which is pretty nice. You can search him off of different things. So he's really, really strong, and it takes the full advantage of the ritual spell Good and Evil in the Burning Abyss. I find that to be a great staple. Even without the ritual aspect of this deck, it's a nice, like, one-of if you want to just throw it in your ritual, throw it in your Burning Abyss deck, because his ritual, it's, like, insane. Like, it searches you any Burning Abyss card that you need. I find that this monster is pretty tough on his own. He can basically modulate the attack and defense of any monster on the field that he chooses by discarding a Burning Abyss monster. And that monster that he selects on the field will lose attack and defense equal to whatever Burning Abyss he dropped, which is pretty nice. It is a quick effect, being a spell speed 2. In addition to that, his best effect is when this card's sent from the field to the graveyard. You can send one card on the field to the graveyard. So it's like a card for card exchange, but the cards that he can hit are pretty insane because anything that, like, can't be destroyed, he can still hit it. So he's really, really sacky. It's like one of those cards that you just really have to play around in because, like, all Burning Abyss monsters have grave effects. It's something that people can overlook because they're like, oh, it's the ritual, and then, like, don't really realize that this guy has an effect when he's sent to the graveyard as well, but only from the field. So we're playing 2 Malakota. He's basically the king of my deck. Like, he's the best monster, really, in the whole deck. Like, it's nice to make boards like Malakota and Beatrice, or Malakota with Dante, and have a set of Fire Lake of the Burning Abyss. When you flip your Fire Lake, you'll send him and Dante this Chainlink 1, Dante Chainlink 2. Dante adds something like the Fire Lake back to your hand, and then Malakota kicks in. After you destroy 3 cards, you get to send a 4th card on the field to the grave. Like, there's some nutty combos you can set up with this deck. It's like semi-competitive. It's just like something you have to be aware of, that Burning Abyss are just always going to be a meta deck no matter how you look at it. They're one of the best decks of all time, in my personal opinion. Like, there's nothing like some good old BAs, or maybe even shit-alls. So triple Skarm. Skarm is one of the most standard Burning Abyss monsters you play in your list, no matter how you look at it. The aspect of this deck is you're milling cards, and he's one of the best cards to hit because it searches. I believe Skarm is a girl, but Skarm searches everything you need in your deck, including the Lonely One Tour Guide. So in technical terms, we're running 4 Tour Guides. Then we also play 3 copies of Farfa. Because we do not have the Burning Abyss Link monster, Farfa is very, very important. Using his own effect on your extra monster zone. For example, there was a game when I actually had Beatrice on field, and I had a I had a Good and Evil in the Burning Abyss in graveyard, and I ended up using Burning Abyss, the Good and Evil, to discard him and then search for Fire Lake and banish the Beatrice from the extra monster zone, and then summoned a Breaksword in that, and did the Breaksword combo, and then searched for my Phantom Knight rank up, and then slapped Ophion right there, and then during the end phase, she returned to my main monster zone and not the extra monster zone. So Farfa's pretty nutty. Like, there's just other combos where he comes up a lot, but he's, like, a lot better now, even more so, because you're using his effect more on your own monsters than you are on your opponent's monsters, but he does come up a lot where you use him on your opponent's monsters, not only to clear it out the way for you to push for your game, but sometimes there's certain monsters that, like, for example, there could be like that one monster where it's like, you know what, if this stays on the field for the rest of the turn, like, this is going to be very, very detrimental to my play style, and it's interrupting too much of my plays. So you can go like Farfa, just banish that. Like, for example, a BL's, like, you really can't destroy BL's. You need to get him out the way right now. So Farfa's just really, really good. He's like one of the most skillful of the Burning Abysses because we're in League format, as I explained. It's really, really strong. It's basically like Cypher and Loto Mega Ink, anything you want in your extra monster zone, because he targets any monster on the field. 2 Libic. I find that Libic comes up a lot in this current list. That's why I'm playing him at 2. He's just like really, really strong because you have the Burning Abyss, but of course you have the Phantom Knights, and then whenever you summon something from your extra deck that's not Dante, being like Beatrice or any of the Phantom Knight, any of the Break Sword, or even the rank 4s that Break Sword climbs into, it's like you really can't produce that viable of a field presence because your Burning Abyss monsters cannot be summoned. But Libic actually fixes that problem a lot. So Libic acts sort of as a pseudo tour guide. In addition to that, it's very, very nice to have that additional extender for your combos when you're trying to build up a really, really juicy board. And it's like, dude, I just used Farfa and now I'm about to summon, you know, Dante from Grave off of Sir, and I want to put another Dante in my extra monster zone, but then I want to slap a Beatrice on top. So what you do is you discard your Libic targeting Dante and then summon your Beatrice, and Libic activates as a secondary chain, meaning a separate chain, and he'll special the Burning Abyss monster from your hand, and it will not die even if Beatrice is on the field because he negates its effect. Libic is very, very nice. He complements the deck well. Then we have 2 copies of Ailic. Ailic comes up a lot as well. That's why I play her at 2. She's one of the best monsters, in my opinion, to send off of your Beatrice. If you're not sending Farfa, you really want to send Ailic. And there are also those times where your opponent has a really, really nasty monster on the field. Like, for example, the Indestructible Crystal Wing, and Dante happens to mill this and another Burning Abyss card. You can set this as Chainlink 1 and whatever else you want as Chainlink, you know, whatever. If Crystal Wing chooses not to negate the Dante's effect, of course, but Dante still mills as a cost. So it would be idiotic to actually negate his effect because you'll still get the mill. So basically, if you set this up as a Chainlink lower than the highest, it's going to resolve no matter what. Meaning that Crystal Wing is going to be negated. You don't have to worry about it. So this just helps with problems like that. Like the problem with Invoke Macabre. It helps you to deal with just a lot of different boss monsters that are very, very problematic for you. So I like the Ailic a lot. Like, she's just really, really lit for this particular list. You play a lot of BAs. I know it's weird. Most standard Burning Abyss players plays 12 Burning Abyss monsters, but I feel that the best card to draw is a BA because they all do stuff and they all make Dante as long as you have multiples. Without the Terratop engine, it's unfortunate, but you have to use multiple BAs now to go into your Dante. The one graph, the best monster in your deck is obviously Sir. Sir is so insane, especially in League format, because every time he summons Dante back from the graveyard, he goes immediately to the main monster zone, which is very important to keep in mind. So the Sir Dante loop is realer than ever. With one Sir, it's still fine. So long as your opponent does not activate Invocation, banish this and summon the Invoke Kaliga, you will be fine for your entire game to just grind it out. It's just, this helps me a lot to extend my plays because sometimes I need a fetch, a Fire Lake of the Burning Abyss, so I'll use Sir to get my Dante on field, and then I'll somehow get Dante to the graveyard just to add Fire Lake of the Burning Abyss from my graveyard back to my hand. It's like one of my favorite cards for this list. I play this deck to be basically like aggro, you can say. It's like super duper aggressive, but at the same time, every Burning Abyss floats, so it's like extremely resilient simultaneously. I just love the way the deck flows. One Drahig. Drahig is really, really nice because there's some nutty combos you can set up with him and your Dante Pilgrim, where on your opponent's turn, you'll ditch Drahig to draw a card, and Drahig kicks in as a secondary chain, and you can put the Burning Abyss card you want on top of your deck, draw that. For example, it can be the Ritual Good and Evil, and then you can ditch that and draw a card and have it in your grave for next turn. Or you can put like a Skarm on top and ditch the Skarm to draw another card on your turn, whatever you want. If you haven't seen Sir yet, you can use his effect after you ditch him to draw one card to put Sir on top of your deck, top deck a Sir because you know what it is, and then you can pitch Sir again and draw another card. Drahig, just, there's a lot of cool combos you can do with him. Even like when you hit him with Dante, you can use him to set yourself up for the next Dante mill. It's like really, really cool. I like it a lot. It's like, oh, this deck is just insane. Drahig is really nice. I played him at 2 in the past, but I had to cut him for the secondary prep, which I didn't really regret because Drahig wasn't like vital to the playstyle, but he was like something that I did not want to miss out on at all. So I have to play at least one of him. The one Calcab and the one Barbar and the one Rubik to sum up the Burning Abyss monster lineup. I play Rubik in this list because I still want to be able to synchro summon for Virgil. Because like you only have one Beatrice, obviously, so Beatrice can be a hit or miss. Most of the time, I like to summon Pilgrim off of Beatrice. He's the smarter play. It's the correct play, honestly, because he can't be targeted and he'll thin you through your deck. In addition to that, he'll float and snatch a card from your opponent's hand. Virgil, I like to actually just synchro summon into him. He's really, really nice. He shuffles cards and does not destroy. And if I'm not mistaken, he just says, yeah. He literally doesn't target or destroy. He shuffles a card from the... Oh, no, I'm sorry. He does target. My bad. But he does not destroy, which is really nice. He targets a card and shuffles it into the deck, which gets over a lot of stuff. And when he dies, you draw a card, which is really nice. So I like Rubik because when I see Rubik, I basically see Virgil. In addition to that, he's a 21 booty, and he's still a BA name. And then the one tour guide. Moving forward into the Phantom Knight portion of the deck, which is pretty much the free pluses. Every time you mill Phantom Knights with your Dante, you look at them as free pluses because it's just free searches to replenish the resources you have expended for that turn. So we play 3 copies of Phantom Knight's boots, silent boots. So we're basically just putting Dante's clothes on. So Dante's boots, his cloak. We played 2 ancient cloak. There was a list and I played this card at 3, and I just felt like 2 was the correct number. Now this is something that seems really funny. I played 2 copies of Ragged Gloves. The reason why you play Ragged Gloves at 2 in this list is for this reason only. For the Phantom Knight's rank up launch. In order to extend your play to provide for the rank up play, you have to be able to dump a Fog Blade directly from your deck to your grave to banish that and special summon Breaksword from the grave to then rank up using him after you've resolved his effect to pop and revive 2 Phantom Knights. So it's like a crazy combo. It's really extensive and it helps you to push further for damage and also to establish yourself and get yourself a lot further ahead of your opponent. So that's the only reason why I'm playing 2 Ragged Gloves in this list versus the 1. And he actually comes up nice because a Phantom Knight name is not really bad, especially when you're resolving your Fog Blade. To bring this out and just special summon the boots and then go into a free Dante, then you can still normal your Graph or your Sur or your Scarm and get their effects off. That way, like, it's just really, really cool because I'm playing Fire Lake at 3. So like I'm using this trap not only to kill my opponent but to clear my extra monster zone so that in one turn, like if I'm happen to be any turn that's not turn 1, you can do like this play where you go Ragged Gloves off of the Fog Blade and then special boots go into one Dante mill, and then go ahead and normal summon any BA monster, Fire Lake it, and then clear 3 cards and then summon another Dante or a Breaksword if you need to clear a 4th card, which it could come up. It just helps you to pick apart established boards. So that sums up the Phantom Knight portion of the deck. And then that's basically it for monsters. You play a lot of monsters, but they're the best mills. Like every monster except for Tour Guide does something when you hit it. And Malakota, he doesn't do anything when you mill him, but you can actually fetch him from your graveyard to your hand with pre-preparation of rights. And we play 3 pre-preps. This is my favorite spell in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I was very happy when Konami made this, and I don't think it deserves to get hit on the list because rituals as they are not really meta and probably never will be unless Necros somehow get everything unbanned. It's just never will be, and even so, Necros can't play this card. So I feel like it's fair to have it at 3. People can complain about it, but it's like Pot of Desires is still legal, and that's a generic +1. So 2 copies of prep. We played the 5 preps. Although you have 2 targets, like I said, the reason why you're playing the preps over just playing multiple, playing 3 of him is because I'd rather draw a prep than draw multiples of him because this allows me to deck thin, which can fix my meals with Dante, and it also just increases the deck ceiling because when you open with cards that fetch other cards, you not only are able to thin through your deck, but also you have multiples of the same name, so it increases the chances of drawing that card. For example, I play 2 of him, but in technical terms, I actually play 7, if it makes sense. So we're playing the 5 preps. This mid to late game is like not that good, but this mid to late game is insane. So long as you have at least 1 good and evil in your deck, you can play it, search good and evil, and just add Malakota back from grave to hand, and then summon him again. So I just love the 5 preps. I wouldn't change it for anything because you don't even always resolve any of them. Like sometimes you just have a really, really terrible mill and you like mill like 3 preps. Not simultaneously, but like you'll mill them throughout your game. Whoops. You'll mill them throughout the game and then like sometimes you only draw 1 before you mill the rest of them. So you really do have to play them at that ratio in my opinion. 3 Allure Darkness. This is just a no-brainer. Every single monster in this deck is dark. I don't have Fiendish Rhino Warriors. I really wish I did. If I had Fiendish Rhino Warriors, I'd have 3 in this list because Fiendish Rhino Warrior is a correct monster to play, especially if you want to play Link monsters that aren't Burning Abyss because we don't have any right now. You can just normal the Fiendish Rhino Warrior, Link summon. Any Burning Abyss you special summon will not be destroyed by its own effect. So I feel that he's the correct card to play in this list. I unfortunately do not own any Fiendish Rhino Warriors, or I would be playing them. So 3 allures, and also this spell right here, this can change the flow and tide of your game state. This just resolving one of these would literally, this effect becomes search, destroy 3 cards. That's literally like what the effect becomes. It's like summon Malakota and then later just destroy 3 cards. It's like, this card's an absolute blowout. I really, really love Good and Evil a lot. The artwork is insane. Resolving this, not only to summon your Malakota is really, really nutty, but because it's going to fetch you whatever you need next turn by triggering a Burning Abyss card to extend your play. It's insane. Like, I would not cut this card at all. It's one of the best meals. Even drawing it, it's one less combo piece you need to search from your deck to your hand to get Malakota. And it's also smarter to play that 3 because of pre-prep. So long as you have one of these in your main deck, you can resolve pre-prep. So I love it a lot. Like, this is how I extend my plays to search for more Fire Lakes. Sometimes I find myself needing to search for Sir if I still haven't seen Sir. Sir is like the most important monster. It's really, really good. I love the Good and Evil so much. Like, this is insane. Like, there was a game when I was just grinding the crap out of my opponent where I just banished Good and Evil, pitched Sir, summoned. I had double Good and Evil in grave. I literally, the second turn, I banished Good and Evil, pitched Sir, I searched for Fire Lake, and then I used Sir to special Dante, normal to BA, set the Fire Lake, flip the Fire Lake, send Dante away in the BA. Dante adds Sir back. Next turn, do the same thing. Banish this, pitch Sir, summon Dante, search Fire Lake. This is just like one of, not even one of the best extenders. It's just like one of the best plays in this deck, period. This spell deserves its recognition. Like, I know BA players don't play this, but it's like most BA players tend to like net deck each other anyways, and there's like a quote unquote standard list for every deck. I feel like there's nothing standard. It's just like you should play your deck the way you want to play it, and if it works for you, then it works. 1 Phantom Knight's Rank Up Magic Launch. This is just a great card to go into your Ophion if you're just playing a deck that really does summon level 5 or higher, which is not, you know, extremely likely, but there are decks out there that special summon level 5 or higher. ABCs is an example. Like, you can Fogblade their Diamond Direwolf or whatever if they're trying to pop this. It's like, it's a really, really strong card in certain matchups. Ophion has his day every now and again. Then, of course, you can make Nightmare. I don't have the Dark Rebellion rank 5 XYZ, the one that negates monster effects endlessly. I wanted to proxy him, but I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do any proxies for this list. But the correct card to make with this is either Ophion or the Dark Rebellion XYZ. The rank 5 comes up a lot more because not only does his effect negate monster effects, but he summons XYZs from the graveyard, which actually go to your main monster zone, which helps in link format. So I feel like that's the correct card to make, but I don't have access to him right now. But I would not cut this card from my list for that exact reason. Because it just helps you when you have multiple boss monsters, like when you have a floated Dante in main monster zone, you have a Malakota on field, and then you flip this during your main phase and summon that rank 5 that's like basically a Dark Lady / Crystal Wing / Steroid Solemn Strike that's spell speed 2 that's not once per turn. It's insane. You just detach whatever XYZ special summon Fogblade. It's just like really, really insane. So I feel like this is just something that it's like a spicy tech. It's a card that people played in the past, but just kind of like strayed away from it. But I feel like it's really, really good, and it's worth the potential quote brick hand. And then for the traps, we just played the best ones. No strikes. I really wanted traps that had synergy in my grave. Like, every card in my list except for a Lore of Darkness and the preps has synergy in the grave. Like, there's nothing really bad to mill except when you mill the preps, but they're like the only cards that don't get any effects in grave. Even this is great in grave, because it extends your Fogblade so you can pop 2 cards with your Fogblade. I could go over that combo, but you should know if you read this card's effect, you should know what it does. But the traps, basically, yeah. And Fire Lake does have synergy in the grave, because even if you mill it with Dante, you can fetch it back with Dante. So we played 3 Fire Lakes and 3 Fogblades, the best traps in this deck. Fire Lake is just a blowout. Like, there are certain games where you'll just steal a win from your opponent just by resolving one of these. When you go first and just in phase hit 3 Paleo back rows, or you hit the diagram, the face down trap, and the monster they were planning on tributing on your turn, and just like, okay, True Draco Apocalypse, pop what? Pop Dante? That's fine. It's already off the field. Or, okay, Sir just floats into something else. It's just, it's insane. Like, I play 3 of this not only because I want to open up with it, and I don't care if I open up with multiples, but because I need to run, like, I run through this like an engine. Like, as I explained with Good and Evil, where like, you resolve one and then good and evil searches and good and evil searches, and then Dante adds back. Like, you want to resolve this as many times as you possibly can to ensure that you do not lose. This is the ultimate protection. Fog Blade is just like a whisper in the fog compared to this. Like, this is just the best trap, period. It's just like, it doesn't make sense why it's not once per turn. Because there are games where you just open with 4 BAs in this. It's like, I can either, like, if you have Sir, you can obviously make Dante and you'll get Dante in 3 BAs, where it's like, if I can't really get 4 BAs on field, I want to resolve both of these. I'm just going to special 4 BAs and resolve 2 of these, blowing up 6 cards if my opponent even has 6 for me to blow up. It's just insane. That sums up the main deck. And then the extra deck is partially incomplete, but the only important cards that actually matter are Dante himself, Swag Daddy, dodge the ban list forever. It's a card everybody wanted to die, and he's going to come back when the Link Monster comes out. I think Burning Abyss will be more popular again, but it might just be a hype that dies down. But the original Duelist Alliance, you have to. Don't play the Ugly Gold Rare. Don't play the Mega Pack reprint. You just don't do that to him. Don't disrespect him. He's a very, very respectable man. 2 copies of Phantom Knights of Breaksword. This does not come up at 3. It's just not the correct number to play 3. I mean, just would not come up enough for you to play 3. You have space for better cards. I'm not saying that he's bad. He's a really, really good card, but just like 2 and 3 is perfect for the basically for the Burning Abyss and Phantom Knight XYZs. And then Beatrice, the lady that Dante, you know, risked his whole life to save. And then 1 Dante. It's like Dante went through hell and back to get this card. Then Konami put her to 1. That's sad. The Big Daddy Dante, and then Virgil, Dante's best friend, and his guide through the Burning Abyss. And then these are just like cards that you can only make off of Breaksword, but you still play them. Honestly, I'm gonna cut this when I get the Phantom Knights. When I get the Burning Abyss Link Monster, I'm gonna put like 3 of that new Link Monster if its name's Dante, and then 1 card that I'm gonna put in is the Dark Rebellion rank 5. Dark Requiem is his name, Dark Requiem XYZ Dragon, and I'll keep this ratio. So you have 3, 5, 8, 11, and then 11 right here is the exact cards that I'm gonna keep, and then what I'm gonna take out is Decode Talker and Key Beetle. Like I told you, it's incomplete, but these are just like fillers. Really, these 11 matter. And these 2 are just like, nah, I could toss them in, but it really doesn't make a difference because I never really make them. Even this, I never really make it. So this could be, for example, Dark Requiem XYZ Dragon. That would make the list, the extra deck 12. And then the other 3, I'm going to play 3 of the Burning Abyss Link Monster. I don't care if Dante can add it back from great to hand with his own effect. I'm going to play 3 because I know I'm going to burn through that a lot. So yeah, that sums up the deck list, you guys. Thank you so much for watching this deck profile. Be sure to show some love to my team. We're trying to come up, and I definitely want to get more close and personal with you guys and get to know who, you know, who's watching me and who I'm speaking to through this camera. God bless you guys. Thank you so much. Y'all make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Peace out.